We are back on the PC and we should be good to go. So awesome there. We had some news to go over today. So this is Radeon RX 97 GRE coming after all. So this has been talked about for a little while now. The 9070 GRE or the Rabbit edition. Is it Rabbit or is it Rabbit? So many ads, so many ads. Yes. Ads. Ads everywhere. So a week ago, rumors stated or started to surface. Yeah, weeks ago. Again, I went over this, I believe, a little bit as well. AMD may be considered adding a new RDNA 4 graphics card to its lineups. Rumors began just as Radeon RX 9070 non-XT stock has been depleted in the Chinese market. If you haven't heard, over in Japan, actually, they sold more graphics cards than they have in a very long time. So absolutely insane for Japan. But this is the Chinese market they're talking about. The general belief was that AMD has no intention of restocking this graphics card because there's another model coming already. Absolutely insane. They're not restocking it. I don't think people are really going to be buying the GRE, to be honest. I do believe the GRE is the 8 gigabyte model or 12 gigabyte model. We'll have to see. According to IT Home, who are quoting their own sources now, they're quoting their own sources. The Radeon RX 97 GRE is indeed coming. Presumably, this means another Chinese market exclusive. However, there were instances where AMD brought GRE models to a global market. The RX 7900 GRE, a bunch of content creators got these given to them. So awesome that they did. The media have no specs on this graphics card yet, but they assume that this means a 192-bit memory bus and it will result a 12 gigabyte GDDR6 memory configuration. Of course, it's gonna be 12 gig model. It sounds like a lot like the 9070 class GPU, except AMD already has one, and 9060 XT is already confirmed to have a 128-bit memory bus. Of course, it's a lower-end graphics card. It's gonna have a lower memory bus on it. A potential RX 9070 area would fill the gap between the RX 9070 and 9060 and would match the memory specs of the RTX 5070. We go. Historically, GRE models were offered in Chinese market due to a lack of other models for the RDNA 3 series. This means a lower supply of the 7600 XT in favor of RX 6750 GRE cards. Perhaps the 97 GRE is meant to ease the supply constraints of the RX 9060 series. Maybe. So we got Navi 48X for 9070, or XTX, XT for 9070, GRE, Navi 40XL. Yep, we're talking about the Navi 40XL, and that would probably be in the next lineup, and apparently this is the next lineup. Cores, going to have plus or minus a little bit of the same amount of cores that is in a 9070. So around the same specs of the 9070, just has a lower bit or memory bus and or memory as well. So GDDR6 is only going to be 12 gigabyte, unfortunately. Memory, 12 gigabyte GDDR6, 192 bits. Yeah. I mean, it's not great. It's not great in my opinion, 192 bit, but they do what they want to do. Memory speed will probably be about the same. They're going to be using GDDR6, a higher end GDDR6 that gives you about 20 gigabits per second, or 19.5 really. But memory bandwidth, it's probably going to have about the same memory bandwidth. Max board power, I'm going to say this card could be 180 watt TDP. PCI Express 5.0 by 16, which is always good. It's not like the 4060. It only has 18 PCIe lanes, which is kind of brutal. MSRP to be determined. And Q2 2025. And it should come out here soon. Maybe end of April or beginning of May, sometime around there. So that's cool. Well, that's cool. So back to the news, and I do believe we got... Oh, 5060 Ti has been spotted in the Firmark database. So they've done some tests on Firmark to make sure it's stability test on it. Probably tested out coolers for it too, see how hot it gets. Oh yeah, what do we got? What do we got? 116 watt. 180 watt. Yeah, 180 watt TDP probably. And temps don't look great in my opinion. 69 degrees Celsius for a 5060 Ti. It seems kind of warm for one of those lower end graphics cards, but max core temperature 255C. That's brutal. Sensor's not working probably for it. And they test on multiple different CPUs. So Ultra 7 265K, Ultra 5 245K, and a Ryzen 9 3900X. Region A1. All right. I mean, the scores look decent enough. They look decent enough. Not giving us much specs, though. They're not giving us much specs at all. So according to rumors, Nvidia GeForce RTX 5060 Ti should launch in less than 9 days. Nvidia has not officially confirmed this date, but given the embargoed documents haven't changed yet, this date is unlikely to be pushed back. As far as we know, Nvidia board partners are already actively shipping review samples to media, as we should see a lot more leaks in the coming week. Most likely, I did not get one, unfortunately. One day. One of the first leaks is from Firmark, courtesy of Richard Sheehan, who discovered a new PCI device ID in the database, the 10DE-2D04. Basically, it means NVIDIA GB206 GPU with subvariant data pointing towards HP and Gigabyte leaking information. Most likely Gigabyte. Firmark is an odd choice for an early performance leak, but in reality, this isn't about performance. It's more about heat dissipation testing. Exactly what I said before. One of the cards was even limited to 61 TDP, which is registered at 116 watt. That said, the 100% TDP would be 190 watt, probably around 180. It's probably around 180 watt though. The RTX 5060 Ti is rumored to be 180 watt by default. Yeah, so this particular board partner card seems to be 10 watt higher power limit set out of the box. And again, that's different board manufacturers or PCB manufacturers. So like Gigabyte, Asus, Zotac, all of them will have a different higher TDP depending on the model. The Firmark GL test scoring at 10,242 points is much faster than the RTX 4060 Ti. In fact, it's almost identical to the last gen model. And we see this a lot with these lower end models. They're not much better than the previous generation. The reasons for this could be many, such as driver or platform related issues. Worth noting that all these three tests listed below had different drivers. Yeah, probably testing out different drivers, see which is going to be working more. In any case, it's more of an indicator that something is already being tested. As we said, there are review samples being delivered as we speak. We expect more leaks in the coming days, hopefully something more gaming related, and we'll see about that. CUDA cores 4,608, base clock at 2.4 gigahertz, boost up to 2.5, memory 16 and 8 gigabyte, DDR's 7, memory clock 28 gigabits per second, memory bus is only 128, which is very sad to see. For these lower end models, only 128 bit. It's not great. Memory bandwidth 448 gigabits per second. TDP of actual 180 watt. That's what they're saying. And announcement April 15th. So within the next week. So we'll see more next week on actual performance, or even at the end of this week. Even at the end of this week, they might have some, actual performance numbers in games. We'll see. I'll keep up to date with the leaks on that. China's general purpose media interface, GPMI, set to deliver up to 192 gigabits per second of bandwidth at 480 watt. Through a single USB cable. 480 watts through a USB cable? What? New case of a burnt power connector. AMD Radeon RX 970 can be BIOS modded with XT firmware, surpasses reference 9070 XT when overclocked. Wow. We're definitely going over this one. So we got a BIOS mod for the 9070, which you put the XT onto it, and it's apparently better for overclocking. So, oh yeah. Oh yeah. I like the sounds of that. So many ads. All right, so the members of the PC Games Hardware Forum are the first to try something new with the Radeon RX 9070. Although BIOS modding was very popular back in the day, GPU vendors are now locking down such modifications quite strictly, meaning it is often very hard or even impossible to introduce changes to the card specs with such a simple switch. It turns out that at least some Radeon RX 9070 non-XT GPUs can be flashed in the 9070 XT BIOS. Wow. What? Basically, this enables higher clocks and higher TDP. One of the most visible changes when comparing both variants of RDNA 4 GPUs. However, this does not change the core count or memory specs, the latter being identical on both SKUs already. But allowing for it to, being able to overclock it more gives you potential for more frames in games. Since they already have a beefy cooler on, it's absolutely insane. The power and clock starved RX 97 not XT got new wings with the unlocked XT BIOS. Users are reporting that it is even possible to overclock the card further, which is still crazy. There is no issue running the non-XT 97 cards with XT BIOS at stock, adds one of the modders. Got it. So even though if you do a BIOS mod on this, you're probably not going to see any kind of changes unless you do overclock it, which if you're doing these BIOS mod changes, you definitely be overclocking it. The card has scored 15 to 20% higher than the stock RX 97 XT. What? This, of course, with overclocking not out of the box experience after flashing. However, the important detail is that it is already at or near RX 97 XT level. That's up to a 20% higher stock score. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy, dog. These are good scores. So this is Speedway. So this first one that we see here, Speedway. Then we got Port Royal, and then we got Steel Nomad. Steel Nomad is a great benchmark in my opinion to be using. For higher end, just for higher end, like overall. Yeah, Steel Nomad's my go-to for benchmarking some setups. Performance gains are one thing, but there are also some drawbacks. For instance, ULPS mode does not seem to work, and some freezes were encountered by one of the modders. However, with some optimization, the card seems stable, can be referenced 9070 XT cards. Of course, there's going to be some hiccups with the BIOS mod, right? You're going from a different BIOS, which has the Navi 48 XTX, and then the non-XT is Navi 48 XT, right? So you're switching that over too. And if it doesn't have it built into the card, there's going to be some sort of hiccups. Such mods are very interesting and entertaining to watch. Gamers who are not able to purchase the RX 9070 XT might have opted for cheaper card now. Can consider upgrading the BIOS. Of course, this all has consequences and requires a lot of work and optimization to have a stable GPU. Exactly. Not something many gamers will have to have time to do. Yeah, very true with that. For overclocker like me, yeah, I definitely want to do that. With all the issues with drivers and optimizations, add another layer of possible software issues. It's not something we would recommend. Not a lot of people will. There's also the topic of physical change between 97 and 97 XT series. Latter were often shipped with 3 8-pin power connectors due to increased power requirements on OC variants. Even still, just 2 8-pin power connectors is enough for up over 300 watts. Let's just say that. You're good for like 350, 360 watts. So I don't think these cards will be hitting those kind of power, like power limits. Like I don't think they would hit over 350 watts. So if anyone considers such modes, it might be important to only upgrade the 97 XT BIOS from cards that have also 2 connectors. Otherwise, the card may have stability issues. Agreed. That's pretty sweet though. Let's see what we got here. So they're getting it up to 2.8 gigahertz on boost. The actual memory is at 2500. Nice. And it's at about 317 watts at 0.986 millivolts. So not much voltage going through it. For temperature seems to be pretty good. Again, they way overspec the coolers on these cards. CPU temperature, my bad. GPU temperature is 55 degrees Celsius, so it's still really good. That 55 degrees Celsius, in my opinion, is just fine. In gaming for long periods of time, you might see 60, maybe 65, depending on the case size, airflow, a bunch of different variants in there. That's pretty cool, though. But the fan speed seems to be nice and low as well, which is good for sound. That's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. It's awesome that they're able to BIOS mod the 9070 with the 9070 XT and got a lot more performance gains. So that's awesome. What else do we got for the news today? That's all I wanted to do today is just live stream, go over some news. I do have to call in for my new internet here soon. I'm using my data right now, so if things don't look great, my apologies. I am currently getting new internet, so. The Lenovo confirmed laptops with RTX 5060. I'm not much of a laptop person. So more driver issues, more RTX driver issues. Ooh. We've created this anonymous error report, which you can send our way to help fix the problem in our near dark future. What does this report contain? I would want to see what it actually says for the actual error report. Can't get rid of this ad because there's just so many ads. So, as a part of Investigation Gamers, Nexus spent a lot of time verifying recent reports on NVIDIA drivers issues. We have reported on this a few times. Basically, there are many problems involving recent NVIDIA GPU drivers releases that seem more prone to generating issues for gamers than previous releases. It's not good, man. That's not good for NVIDIA at all. This is particularly due to, with older gen GPUs such as the RTX 30 or 40 series, but also the latest 50 series GPUs. Brutal. And that could be because they're implementing the DLSS 4 into the 20, 30, and 40 series cards, even though you're not getting all the benefits of DLSS 4 for these cards. They are implementing DLSS 4 into these cards, and that could be causing issues for people, which is not good. Not good that they're having issues. So, in fact, some game developers even recommend downgrading the drivers to older versions, going back to pre-RTX 50 launch. This is a huge problem for Nvidia when even game developers sometimes of games that Nvidia heavily promotes, such as Inzoi, confirms that there are problems with the drivers that can only be fixed by such changes. Brutal, man. Brutal. Man. Nvidia is under a lot of pressure, and accumulating reports from gamers aren't even that helpful in pinpointing the exact cause and fixing the problems. Even though they're sending off diagnostics, hopefully they're sending off diagnostics, but Gamers Nexus went through hundreds of threads on forums and Reddits where gamers report such problems, only to notice that there are many possible millions of system combinations that may trigger such issues. Yeah, different CPUs with these new GPUs, different CPUs, RAM kits, motherboards. I mean, there's so many things. Only to notice that there are many, yeah, blah, blah, blah. However, they're very able to find such common problems and confirm that even on the latest drivers, such problems can be replicated. Interestingly, changing the driver sometimes fix the problem, confirming that this indeed NVIDIA software causing the issue. Brutal, NVIDIA, brutal. What are you doing? What are you doing? The problem has occurred. You can retry using the same settings or adjust them to lower settings. Make sure you have the latest drivers for your video hardware and try rebooting your system to help clear up any issues. Brutal. GeForce RTX driver issues. Star Wars Outlaws. Selecting resume causing crash. Ooh. Marvel Rivals enabling frame generation causes crash. Again, ooh. Cyberpunk 2077 crashing when loading into game. Again, brutal. Shadow of Tomb Raider. In-game benchmark crashes. DXGI error. Rolling back to older driver fixes the issue. Issues particularly affecting multi-monitor users, especially with G-Sync high refresh monitor configurations. Oh, are they just overstressing the GPU maybe with the latest drivers? That could be it. Swapping monitors into different GPU outputs may also matter. Brutal. Making system from sleep may cause black screens. Actually encountered this issue myself twice. That's brutal. Issues not present on older drivers. 566. Wow. So what gamers actually discovered is that sometimes enabling NVIDIA features such as DLSS 4 frame generation or G-Sync may be the culprit. Called it. I called it. I called it. They recommend trying to disable these features to see if they resolve the issue. However, as they note, these are just workarounds, not final solutions, and it won't be. Final solutions will be actual good drivers for this issue. By Steve Burke, Gamers Nexus. But this has been an absolutely abhorrent and completely embarrassing launch for NVIDIA. I mean, we talked about it already a couple times, generally in the time since I've been doing this since 2008, folks, in hardware since about 2010. In that time, this is the worst launch I've ever seen for NVIDIA. Brutal. NVIDIA is facing a lot of criticism for how they are handling and communicating these issues, the famous black screen issues, as many as 5 different fixes through several drivers, but NVIDIA never mentioned that these problems are completely resolved, nor the more fixes are coming. The reputation of once polished driver releases has lost its foundation. Even popular GPU reviewers like Gamers Nexus admit that it is the worst NVIDIA launch since they started doing testing. Still, we look forward to NVIDIA release new drivers, hopefully solving most of these concerns. Gamers who are not particularly into the latest gamers or using DLSS overrides can always revert to older drivers and enjoy mostly issue-free gaming. And there's a Gamers Nexus video if people want to check that out. How's it going, Dazzly? How's it going? How is your day going? Yeah, we're going over some PC news, some pretty cool PC news. This one is not great. The driver issues for the 50 series cards and or just the driver optimization for DLSS 4 in 20, 30, and 40 series cards and the 50 series cards, not great. Not great at all. Oh, do we even want to go over the new 5090 burnt connector? Just more bad news upon more bad news for NVIDIA. NVIDIA is taking a big hit here. They have not learned from the past. What is going on? Bro, I'm running a 1660 Ti. Man, I bought one of them just to overclock. They're really fun to overclock. Not a bad card, in my opinion. You can't say it's terrible. It's a good, decent card, right? All right, all right. Oh my God, just look at it. Look at it. It's burnt. Right side, bottom. Brutal. Burnt on the power supply as well, which means power is just going through a couple of wires as that has been this issue with the 12-volt high power connector since it came out for the 3090s. Okay, we're gonna go over this. We're gonna be sad people, but I don't own this or have one. So if anyone does have one of these, should definitely take a look. Make sure everything is working properly, everything's connected before you power it up. So this case of a burnt RTX 5090 graphics card connector and cables may be a bit more concerning than previous issues. In this case, no cable extenders were used, but only the native cabling that came with the power supply. The SF1000L has an ATX 3.1 power supply that includes a native 12-volt 2x6 cable. So 12-volt 2x6. 6 of the pins are for the actual power and 6 of them are for the ground. Yeah, and it's kind of odd how they have it set up. FAA approved, of course, which is again kind of odd how they set up these cables. And that said, this seemed like a safe choice given the concerning reports about overheating GPUs, or so did the Redditor thought. Dun dun dun. However, this wasn't enough, and we have the first case of an RTX 59 gaming trio with a visible melted connector. First visible case of a MSI card. And a cable that seems to have caught fire and doesn't appear safe to use anymore. No, I would definitely not use that. This power connector on the board has to be replaced. It is burnt too far for use. You probably won't be able to put it in properly. You'd have to clean up the pins, and by the looks of it, nah, just completely replace that. And yeah, the connector doesn't look so good, man. Redditor Rochard claims that no overclocking was involved here. The built-in features of a Ryzen 7 9900X3D and a ROG B650E motherboard. The case wasn't very large, but that shouldn't be an issue. Here's what we shared with the images. So they did not mess with any of those settings, ran it out of the box, bought it a month ago from a Best Buy drop. I saw the melting cable post and thought I was safe. I stayed away from custom cables. Apparently, it's still not safe to use original manufacturer's cables. Again, this can happen, man. This can happen. It's connection problems with these cables are an issue and have been an issue since the 3090s. So not good. I originally thought the damage was limited to the GPU side, but after taking the build apart, I saw even more damage on the PSU side. Picks included. Yes, the bulge on the connector is melted plastic, what looks to be like a cable that is burnt white. That's not good. Yeah, that's not good. That don't look good. Does that look good to you? That don't look good to me. Yeah, completely burnt right out. Look at that big old bubble. That got hot. That got real hot. Yep, MSI gaming. Gee, the price he paid for it. Ooh, that's expensive. Look at that. I mean, it doesn't look good. It does not. What is all this white substance, though, or this GPU or power supply here? What is all this white substance? What are you doing? Oh, is this from the actual cable? How come it looks like it's missing cables? It actually looks like it's missing cables. How's it going, Rom? How's it going, Rom? One should note, however, that there are much fewer melting issues reported since RTX 50 launch, and the fact that official Reddit mega threads were all known instances and reports only have 5 entries. There does not appear to be a clear pattern to any of these cases, though. Connection issue, usually. The fortunate user of the card will now have to decide whether to harm the entire thing or just the GPU. In such cases, it's difficult to determine which component was at fault and if no errors involved. Yeah. Just tired? Yeah, you still rocking the Marvel Rivals? Are you getting better with your new one-handed mouse keyboard combo? Yeah, brutal, man. Brutal. That's not good. Oh, they did it. Fully open source physics. Oh, they did it. They did it. Physics 32-bit will live for the games due to the fact they made this full open source. Amazing. Thank you. Good job, Nvidia. You actually did something good this past month. You actually did something good by doing this. It has been reported that Nvidia has released its GPU acceleration library for physics as open source, a technology that many years ago was just an important selling point, like ray tracing for upscaling, has been integrated into many games, which many of which are still being played today. Exactly. That's why it's pretty crazy that they did that. Awesome, man. Glad you're having fun. That's the main thing, right? Nvidia released its physics library to GitHub a few years ago, but as noted by Witch Tech, this release wasn't fully open source, and they did it only recently as Nvidia updated its physics GitHub library full SDK source code, including GPU acceleration part. Let's go. If anyone does not know, physics is a software that is a GPU, like a software for GPU acceleration for real-time physics in games. We're excited to share the latest update for Physics SDK now includes all GPU source code, fully licensed under BSD-3. Let's go. Nvidia did something good. Physics was recently in the headlines again after it was discovered that some games running Nvidia latest hardware, the GeForce 50 series cards, are actually run better on much older software. The reason for this is the lack of 32-bit X support for these graphics cards. It looks like Nvidia isn't planning to reintroduce support for the older 32-bit library, though they did do open source, fully open source too. So awesome. People, modders, the community will be taking their time, making sure everything works properly and implemented for the 50 series cards. And awesome. So the games that you played back in the day that actually use PhysX 32-bit will be running hopefully smoothly here soon on PhysX 32-bit. Exactly. Let's go. Worth reminding that NVIDIA hosts all of its popular technology demos here. You can find one of the first physics demo there as well. Let's go. Let's go. I think that's about it for everything for the news, though. So maybe we'll just talk about some things. We just talk about some things for now, because yeah, I went over everything. Got some recordings done. Gonna have to edit those, make them into videos here later on. Still waiting for my new internet. I'm hoping I can call them here soon and see what's up. How are your views? You getting more views there, bro? Ah, but no subs. It does take time. It does take time to get subs. Just keep doing your thing, man. Main thing is talk. Keep talking if you can. Keep talking and do your thing. It does take time. I've been doing this for, like I said, just over a year now, but I've been like live streaming, editing video or putting videos out, live streaming shorts. So if you can put out some shorts, try to get some more more views off of the shorts is good too. It takes time though, man. Doesn't happen overnight. Yep, I know. Just keep doing your thing. Things will change eventually. Yeah, if you're looking for more subs than that, just try to put out some shorts. My first goal? No, I've gotten a few goal or well, I put a few goals, but I mean, I've gotten a few super chats now. I'm fully monetized by YouTube now, so that's the main thing. Fully monetized. Yeah, it's awesome. Last week I got 100 subscribers, which is great. Yep. I've had like periods of times where all of a sudden there's just a whole bunch of new subscribers. So it just happens. Any new, I've gone through all this, so gone through a bunch of the news. I think I've gone through all the news for now. Yep, and that's why I made this channel, help people learn about things. A lot of things other channels don't talk about because people hate it, but I'll talk about everything. And I'm not monetized, so I'll talk about everything and give them facts that they might not know. Oh, yeah, yeah. Exactly. Make sure you get lots of rest too. You still need to get your sleep so that way you're good to go. Sometimes you gotta give your hand a break too. I might be doing that here soon, to be honest. Might do that here soon. You gotta load up Steam here. So far, I'm not on, what do I call it? Internet, real internet. I'm still using my data. I got another deal, so I used the new deal I got from my provider.